Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and tonight I'm going to be bringing you my TBR for the Haunting of Hill House reading challenge. And this is a reading challenge that I came up with a couple of days ago. There are 5 prompts. I've got 4 books for those prompts, so I'm going to be doubling up on 2 of those prompts with the same book. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get underway. First prompt, the Netflix series The Haunting of Hill House is loosely based on the 1959 novel of the same name written by Shirley Jackson. With the exception of that book, read a haunted house book, fiction or nonfiction, published between 1959 and 2020. And for that one, I'm going to choose one that I believe was published in 1981. Let me look at the thing. Yeah, 1981 by Paula Trachtman. And that is Disturb Not the Dream. Okay. And let me get the synopsis here for you. It's kind of a long one. I don't know if I want to read all of it. Mulberry House, the Hamptons, 1938. The Desmond family had retired to wait out the storm, the killer hurricane that destroyed almost all in its path. Within the wind-racked house, the air is pierced by a harrowing cry and the gleam of a steel blade. Down it comes and down again. A red river runs. In the morning, the house is silent, eerily silent. Rescuers, making their way through the hurricane's debris, force entry into Mulberry House. Their eyes meet the bloody spectacle of what was once the Desmond family. They would move to 1976. Mulberry House, the Hamptons, 1976. Dr. Bertram Bradley, eminent psychiatrist, to the Park Avenue trade, rents Mulberry House for the summer season. It is to be a special vacation for the whole family. Alice, his attractive sheltered wife, Stacy and Richard, ripe teenagers panting for sexual fulfillment and the promise of the Hamptons' young set thrills. Little Lissy, the beautiful and adored 5-year-old, and Amy Cullum, the nubile and designing au-pair girl from Mount Holyoke College. Very soon after the Bradleys move in for the season, the haunting begins. Their nights are interrupted by inexplicable occurrences. Their days are riddled with the bizarre. Night after night, Lissy screams in her sleep. A bloodied man hovers over Alice. A mysterious dream beauty makes love to Bert, leaving traces discernible at dawn. And the locked cellar door gapes open. That's just a little bit of the synopsis. It's a pretty long one, but this one sounds really awesome. So yeah, I wanted to read it. So there you go. That is Disturb Not the Dream. And this one's going to be also the book that I'm going to be reading for prompt 5. So I'll hold it up again when I get to prompt 5. All right, let me see here. Number 2, Ghosts, Ghosts, Ghosts. They are everywhere at Hill House. Have you spotted them all? Read a horror book that features more than one ghost. And for that one, and it's going to pop up on screen in a minute, I'm going to read I Remember You, a ghost story. And I cannot remember the name of the author. It is it's translated, but the author's name is like Yirsa Stog. I can't even pronounce it. I'm sorry about that. Now I don't want to butcher their name, but I do have a synopsis here. In an isolated village in the Icelandic West Fjords, 3 friends set to work renovating a rundown house, but soon they realize they are not as alone as they thought. Something wants them to leave and is making its presence felt. Meanwhile, in a town across the fjord, a young doctor investigating the suicide of an elderly woman discovers that she was obsessed with his vanished son. When the 2 stories collide, the terrifying truth is uncovered. So yeah, that is I Remember You, a ghost story. And when I was reading the synopsis and some of the other kind of descriptions and stuff, it did sound like there might possibly be 2 ghosts in that. I'm not 100% sure, but I hope there is, so I can say I truthfully fulfilled this particular challenge or this particular prompt. All right, so let me go back here. What do we got? Number 3, writer-director Mike Flanagan has confirmed that the 5 Crane siblings each represent the 5 stages of grief: Stephen, denial; Shirley, anger; Theodora, bargaining; Luke, depression; and Nell, acceptance. Read a horror book in which a character is dealing with grief or one of its 5 stages. I don't have a synopsis for this, but this is by Thomas Ligotti and is called Death Poems. And so I kind of think that's going to have something to do with death, grief, loss, any one of those little combinations. All right, depression maybe. And I absolutely love that cover. So yeah, that's going to be my number 3. All right. All right, number 4. And this one was a hard one to find because the haunting. Okay, here we go. The Haunting of Hill House takes place in both the past when the Crane siblings are growing up in Hill House, as well as in the present when they are adults and away from the house. Read a book that takes place in 2 timelines, and I kind of painted myself into a corner with that one. What I actually mean by that is, like, you know, you can have part of the book take place in the past, and then it can segue into the future. That's fine. Even if you got one page that takes place in the past, I don't care. That's fine. Or you can have something like Stephen King's It, where it just completely alternates the entire book, you know, between the kids, the adults, the kids, the adults. Anything. As long as part of it took place in the past or the future. You can have one that takes place in the future and in the present day. I don't care. All right? But for me, the one I chose is Devil's Day. And I do want to say one thing. I asked a lot of people if they could suggest books that were like that took place in the past, that took place two separate timelines and things like that. And a lot of people came forward and were very helpful. Mers at Harpies in the Trees, Jason White at Jason's Weird Reads, and Richard over at Are You Into Horror. Thank you guys for your suggestions. And if anybody else suggested and I missed it, oh yeah, Sion Das. Thank you very much, Sion, for that. I appreciate it. Anyway, I'm going to read Devil's Day. All right? All stories in the valley have to begin with the devil. After the blizzard of a century ago, it was weeks before anyone got in or out. By that time, what had happened there, what the devil had done, was already fable. Devil's Day is a day for children now, of course, a tradition it's easy to mock from the outside. But it's important to remember why we do what we do. It's important to know what our grandfathers have passed down to us. Because it's hard to understand, if you're not from the valley, how this place is in your blood. That's why I came back with Kat, and not just because the gaffer was dead. Though that year we may have let the devil in after all. All right, so yeah, Devil's Day. And that's by Andrew Michael Hurley. And it says here he's the author of The Loney. I haven't read that one. I want to read that now. All right. All right, so there we go. That's number 4. Number 5. Finally, The Haunting of Hill House is centered around the Crane family. Parents Hugh and Olivia and their children, Stephen, Shirley, Theodora or Theo, Luke and Eleanor or Nell. Read a book, fiction or nonfiction, a horror book, that features a family. So like I said, for example, if you want to read the Amityville Horror, that's about the Lutz family. That's cool. Or you can read what I'm going to read, and that is Disturbed Not the Dream. Because it features actually 2 families. We got the Desmond family, and then we got the Bradley family. All right, so there you go. And I've already, good grief, I'm so tongue-tied here. I have already read the synopsis for that book, so I'm not going to read it again. Anyway, that is my TBR for the Haunting of Hill House reading challenge. And if you decide you're in and you want to do this, and if you make a TBR video for it or a wrap-up video or whatever, please use the hashtag Hill House. What did I put here? Good grief, I'm getting bad. Hill House Challenge. Hill House Challenge, yes. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great weekend. Bye.